Here with the head designer of Magic Gathering at San Diego Comic-Con. We're talking one of the most influential games that has come out in, well, really ever. I mean, this is one of the big games. Big news. We're going to start up with it. Is you have a new set that was announced, kind of stealth announced in a way. What can you tell us about it?
Well, all we've announced so far is the name of the set, which is Throne of Eldraine. And I can't tell, we haven't announced officially anything more than that, but I can say the following, which is, this is something I've been trying to do for 10 years, and I'm very, very excited it's finally out. I get excited about a lot of Magic sets, as my fans know, but I'm extra excited for this set.
And it's out in September. That's the other thing we know.
Yeah, it's out. It comes out in October, pre-releases in September, and I'm going to, later at the convention, I'm going to be announcing more stuff about it.
Okay.
So
Good to know. So that's very, very good to know. So you said you've been working on something you want to do for 10 years, which actually goes into the next question I want to ask. Obviously Magic is, we talked about it in a Transformers interview. I think it fits here too. This is one of the few things that really builds a world and a story off of every release. Compare that to like the Marvel toys, where you're creating toys based off of something that already exists. Instead, you really are building like a mythos and a world and characters and a storyline and all that. And you said this is something you've been working, something you want to do for 10 years. Like, one, how long does it take for you to, develop a set and come up with these stories? And then the other is like, how much, do you have banked that you haven't been able to do yet?
Well, I mean, this is my 24th year working on the game. Magic's 26 years old. And so, I mean, you get a lot of ideas, and you sort of, some of them work, some don't, and you fix the ones that don't work. And so some ideas you come up with and it comes out relatively soon. Some ideas you might work on for like 10 plus years. But we have a whole big team that works on it. I work on the design side of it, but we have what we call the creative side that comes up with the characters and the stories and all that. And we work very, very close together to make sure that each new world and all the mechanics of the world, weave into what the world's about, but weave into the story. And so it's a very long, elaborate process. Like right now, I'm working on a set that comes out in the winter of 2022.
Okay, so you're working on a set that's coming out in 2022. Does that mean, the sets that are in between now and then, like, are they in the can? Are they still being tweaked? Like, what's that process like?
Well, for example, the set right now that's coming out, Throne of Eldraine, my hands off 2 years ago. I haven't worked on it in 2 years. But I'm at the beginning part of the process. There's a long conveyor belt, if you will, of people working. And so we pass things along. So everything, like, we have code names for our sets, and they're named after sports right now. So the set coming out this fall was archery. I'm currently working on hockey. So there's baseball, there's cricket, there's diving, there's equestrian, there's fencing, there's golf, all at different stages along the way. Okay. And so, like, archery or Throne of Eldraine is about to come out, and everything else is at some stage being produced and being made. Some very early in design, some later in design, some out of design, some that are being printed. There's a lot of different things to making a Magic set. And so, like I said, we work far ahead, and each set is at its own sort of, part of the process along the way.
So there's some big news, some stuff released, some things have been announced. You obviously have the Netflix series that's coming out with the Russo brothers, are being worked on. Netflix or Amazon, or Netflix? Netflix, all right. And then you obviously have the video game that's out as well. Yeah. Does that impact
Magic the Gathering Arena.
The Arena, yeah. Does that impact the process at all?
Well, I mean, yes and no. I mean, there are teams that work on those things. Right. Our team makes the trading card game, but, like, for example, Magic the Gathering Arena uses the cards we make in their game. So, I mean, there's a lot of synergy, and we work closely with all the other teams to make sure that what we're doing and what they're doing, there's synergy between them. But, like, my day-to-day job is, we got sets to make, and I got to make the sets, and we'll talk. I mean, it's not like we don't communicate with other sections in the company, but we're very focused on kind of doing what we need to do, and then we work with them to make sure that there's synergies. So we do a lot of planning ahead, and one of the reasons we work so far ahead is so we can build in all the synergies we need, so that when things come together, that they work together.
Okay. So, like, because the thing with the Arena that stands out is obviously visually very different in that it's a video game. Yeah. You have these motions and all that, and like versus cards, which just have beautiful art. Yeah. Like, is that it all doesn't really think about maybe like what visually might be cool on a screen versus a card?
Well, the way it'll work is we'll meet with the digital people along the way, and we'll say, here's what we have planned, here's the world we want to go to, here's the mechanics we think we're going to have, and we'll brainstorm with them of, like, I mean, their job ultimately is to come up with what's the best way to show it, right. But we'll work with them and say, here's what we're doing. And we also early on make sure that we're not doing something that'll be really hard to program. We do talk to them and say, here's what we're doing. They might go, oh, that thing? oh, we need extra, like we need to start working on it now because that's very complicated. Or it might be, oh, that we can do that. That's similar to blah, 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 And so we have to work with them very closely to make sure that we are synergistic and that we're making things that they can make. But like I said, the long lead times, the big, kind of one of our big secrets to success is we spend a lot of time and energy because we have the staff to really spend the time on it.
So the other is, obviously you're constantly updating rules, ban cards. I mean, there was just the mulligan rule that came out. That stuff feels like that happens much quicker than you're designing. Like your design, you're saying is 22. How does that impact the design at all? Because I imagine there's going to be things that are going to change between now and when that 22 set comes out that you don't even know about.
Yeah, well, I mean, one of the things that's going on is Magic there's a lot of moving pieces.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? We have an organized play system. Yeah, I mean, we have the digital. We have all this sorts going on. Yeah. I mean, we adapt the best we can. I mean, obviously, when we see something live that we need to fix, we fix it. And yeah, sometimes we work on things and we didn't know that we were going to need to ban something. It got banned, and then we have to do some testing. Like, we're always we work on the fly, and like we have a play design team. They're the people that sort of make sure things are balanced and everything, and that when something gets banned, they have to put extra work in to make sure that the new set that thought this card was going to be there, now that card's not there, they have to do extra play testing. But we've been doing this for a long time. Like I said, we're 26 years in. I mean, we have a lot of shortcuts, and we understand the system in a way that we can sort of.
It's a well-oiled machine.
Yeah, it's a well-oiled machine.
So that's the other is the game's 26 years old. I mean, I played it when it first came out. I started playing it when it was, I think, beta still, and played for quite a while after that. But I have my guesses as to what makes the game enduring and has lasted so long. I mean, there's been games that have come and gone, that have been flash in the pans and the hot thing and haven't lasted a year. Yeah. What is it about Magic that's lasted? I mean, there's been card games that have come and died, like piles of them.
I mean, okay, there's a couple things. Yeah. Number one, Richard Garfield, the man who created the game, just made an awesome game. I mean, Magic is a really, really strong, robust, very flexible, very adaptable game. Yeah. So, A, we have a very good game to work with. The second is, we've been iterating for 26 years. We've gone through a lot and we've learned a lot. And one of the reasons I think we're putting out such strong material right now is, well, we've got the kinks out. We've done it for a long time. I personally have worked on the game for 24 years. Most people, I did a talk at GDC a couple years ago where I talked about I've worked on the same game for 20 years. Here's all the lessons I've learned. There's not a lot of people in the world that have worked on the same game for 20 years because most games, A, don't last 20 years, and people don't necessarily stick and stay on the same thing. I think the idea that we keep iterating on that really, we talk about well-oiled machine, that's a big part of it. The other big secret of sauce is that the game keeps reinventing itself. That the reason people don't get bored of the game is, oh, I got it, it works this way, and then we put a new set out. Now it doesn't work that way, and you're constantly reinventing and learning. And that one of the fun parts about gaming is figuring out the game. And so just when you figure it out, the game changes on you. I think that's an important part. And then the final piece is, in some ways, Magic's not one game, it's mini games, that it has a rule system and a shared card set, but there's many ways to play. Do you want to play standard or draft or commander or modern or vintage or pauper or on and on. Yeah. There's a lot of different ways to play, and so we sort of make this game and then people can pick how they want to play it. So if you want to sit down with a whole bunch of friends and play all together, you can do that. You want to play top competition, play for money all across the world, you can do that. Magic has that breadth of being able to do lots of different things.
Has there been anything that's really surprised you over the 24 years?
I mean, a lot of things have surprised me.
What's the biggest thing that surprised you?
I mean, one of the things that is amazing to me. I guess if you went back to 1994 when I started freelancing for the game and said where the game would go, what I'm saying? I knew the game was a good game, and I knew it was, at the time.
Any of us predicted.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean,
we were all lost that bet.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that always surprises me is I keep finding new things to do with the game that I never thought. Like for example, we did a set called Innistrad where we printed on the back of the card. It had, and like if you had asked me 10 years, would we ever print it on the back? I go, no, we never do that. And then, we did, And so I'm constantly, the thing I love about working on this game, the reason I'm not bored after so long is that the game keeps surprising me, the guy making it, so.
And we'll go with the final question is, obviously the community is huge. And the community really drives everything on this. You got everything from professional sports to casual players, Friday Night Magic, huge. People just picking up and going, hardcore, with the community, you obviously get a lot of feedback from that. How, not necessarily how important is it, but what has kind of surprised you about the community? Like, it seems, on an outsider who plays casually, it seems a lot of it is driven by the community. A lot of these like versions of the game and ways people are playing it, and you guys are looking at it and saying, hey, this is really cool. We should make something a bit more official with that. As far as designing and all that, like, how does it feel to be a designer to be able to have a community to play off of like that? And is there something about the community itself that like really stands out to you?
Well, I mean, first of all, it's an amazing community. Like, one of my jobs is I'm also sort of the spokesperson. I do a lot of interfacing with the community, and we have a passionate fan base, and one of the things I love is they just do all sorts of things. It's really neat. I mean, if you go on YouTube or Tumblr or Twitter, or pick your social media of choice, there are people there expressing their love for Magic, and that's one of the things I love about this game is how tight-knit the community is, of how there's all these people that really love it, and even though people play different ways and there's a lot of different ways to experience Magic, that they all come together. And so I think that's really, really cool that we're able to do that, and that I love our community. Every single day I have a blog where I answer questions, and I answer like 30, 40 questions a day because I love interacting with our public. I love and I think one of the reasons that we're successful is we listen to our public, and they give us ideas, and we're able to turn that and make new sets out of that. And so there's a lot of give and take.
Actually, one more. How's that evolved? How's that back and forth evolved with the internet? Like, obviously, when Magic came out, didn't really exist. Like, you had bulletin boards, and there was Usenet. I remember dialing into bulletin boards about that point in time. But obviously things have evolved greatly. You have Twitter and, as you said, Twitch and all these different ways of getting back and forth with people. Like, as a designer, how has that impacted you?
Oh, I love it. I mean, one of the things that I like is I like input. Like, one of my big beliefs is the more I understand what our audience wants, the better I can serve them. So, I mean, I'm very, very proactive on social media because I want to hear from our public. I want to know what they think. And if they like something, I want to know. If they don't like something, I want to know. And so I've made a concerted effort to really get out there and talk with them. And I think that's made me, like, one of my strengths as a game designer is I really have a strong community bond, and that I learn from that. And I think that one of the things that lets us make really strong games that people enjoy, sets that people enjoy, is because we do listen to them. We do hear, what they are enjoying and not enjoying. And I think that bond is part of what makes the game, what it is.
I always appreciate talking. Thanks so much.
Oh, thanks for having me.
Hey, thanks for watching this video. Now, what you can do that would be really helpful is subscribe or visit our website. We've got links right here that makes this super easy. By subscribing, you will make sure to get further videos down the road. And of course, visiting the website, you get all the greatest news. But just watching, we really, really appreciate it. Until next time, keep rolling those dice and keep it geeky.